Hey everyone, it's Schmuckles. Don't mind my hair, I just woke up. I've been wanting to talk about Jason Voorhees on this channel for months and months, and we actually have some new breaking news that's coming out today, which I think is kind of funny because Friday the 13th is actually tomorrow. It's the only Friday the 13th this year. I've posted a lot about Jason Voorhees on this channel. I'm not going to repeat any of that information. I'll just link a playlist right across my forehead right now about Jason and DBD if you need to catch up on what the heck's going on with Jason. I'm only going to cover the new stuff in this video because I hate repeating myself. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you want news videos like this recommended to you by YouTube. I stream on Twitch on Wednesday and Sunday nights. The link for that is in the description below, and I'm actually streaming on Twitch right now as you're watching this video. So pretty much what happened today is Larry Zerner posted on Twitter that CNN posted a timely story on what's going on with the battle over the Friday the 13th rights. Larry Zerner was interviewed and gave his insight into what is currently going on with that license. There's also another guy interviewed in this article. His name is Mark Toberoff, and just to be clear, this guy is Victor Miller's attorney. Sean Cunningham also says something too. And it's really crazy to hear all these words come out of their mouth because pretty much Friday the 13th is going to be a possible license as soon as next year in DBD. So again, this article was actually posted today and it's giving a live update for what's going on legally with Jason Voorhees. For half a decade, Friday the 13th has been stuck in a copyright dispute over who owns the original script, with the results in part can affect who can use that iconic hockey mask going forward. We already talked about licensing the iconic hockey mask in this video. Miller may control the script and the characters from the original movie, but not the title Friday the 13th, nor the content from the sequels, which includes the adult Jason, and the iconic hockey mask that has defined him in part 3. Spoilers, Jason's mother was the killer in the original movies. This is actually new information to me. I did not know that Victor Miller does not own the title Friday the 13th. I assumed he got everything that came with that original screenplay, including the title. So it seems like Warner Bros. And Horror Inc. and Sean S. Cunningham still own the title Friday the 13th, which is pretty interesting. Toberoff, who also secured the rights to the horror icon Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street for the Wes Craven estate, appears to be ready to walk a fine line as he pushes for a future project. So this article is introducing Victor Miller's attorney right now. This is Toberoff, and I actually didn't know that he fought the same battle with Freddy Krueger, which is pretty crazy. So we're about to get some inside information that has not been made public until now. Miller now owns the copyright to his screenplay, including sequel rights. But Jason can't be portrayed as any older than in the first movie. Makes no sense, Toberoff said. Jason was very much a presence in Miller's film. In fact, Mrs. Voorhees channeled Jason. And of course, the first was all teed up for sequels. This is a really interesting take on the case. Right now, the negotiations that are currently going on behind the scenes, this attorney for Victor Miller is probably saying like, Miller teed up the sequels. And Miller created Jason's initial presence, so maybe he's trying to get some of the rights partially back to the sequels even here. It's pretty much all a fight for money that's been completely private behind the scenes until now. Then the question comes of the mask, Toberoff adds. Do you do a new mask like they often did before? Do you even need the mask? Cunningham says he is prepared to fight Miller if he tries to make a Friday the 13th with an adult version of the Jason character at the center. This is kind of crazy insight into these negotiations that I didn't really know was happening. Obviously, these guys are still fighting and trying to find some sort of legal agreement between these things, but it seems like there's like threats going on back and forth or something like that. And if it was an adult Jason without a hockey mask, I can't imagine it would be very successful, he added. A battle over Jason's age and appearance could be moot because of a key limitation of the US copyright law. It only applies to the rights of the United States, not foreign markets. We've already talked about all this. It actually is confirmed here that Cunningham still owns the foreign rights to the original film as well as the other films as of right now. And Larry Zerner said Miller has to convince a studio to make this thing that can only be distributed in the US. We can have this theoretical argument if you can do a movie that doesn't infringe on the rights of anyone else, but is anyone seriously going to do that without worldwide rights? I doubt it. But Toberoff claims that this case is different because of the unusual nature of Miller's 1979 agreement with Cunningham, which he says will hold up in court to give Miller a partial stake in the worldwide rights. I did not know this, in addition to the US rights which he won last year. So they're really arguing the fine line between what exactly Miller owns right now. I had no idea that the worldwide rights would belong to Miller in any way because that's not what's written in the Copyright Act of 1976. We can license a television series exploring Crystal Lake and how Jason became who he is. Think Twin Peaks or Bates Motel, Toberoff said. I never considered that. The 1960 Alfred Hitchcock classic Psycho did a spin-off series called Bates Motel where they pretty much did like the backstory of the killer that appears in the classic. It shows Norman Bates growing up as a kid on the Bates Motel. I never actually considered this, but they could do something similar with Jason and Camp Crystal Lake here, which is actually pretty crazy because Victor Miller is going to own the rights to be able to do something like that by himself. Again, the worldwide rights are still kind of a gray area. And I guess based on everything that we said, Friday the 13th can't be the title of the series. I wonder if they could somehow use the name Voorhees in the title of the series if they do go forward with that. The article also talks about a similar case that's going on with Disney and the Avengers. It looks like the current copyright holder is usually in the best position to produce and distribute a film worldwide. It's been a pretty frozen situation, so it's crazy to me that we're seeing some inside information made public by Victor Miller's lawyer. Everyone involved agrees that there's still millions more sitting on the table should Jason wield a machete once again, on film, television, or video game, especially after a massively successful reboot of the Halloween franchise. And also, I might add Scream, Candyman, the list goes on, Chucky, all these franchises are rebooting, man. I find it interesting how here they actually mention the Friday the 13th potential for video games. Obviously, there was the Friday the 13th game that was doing really well before the lawsuit, but those developers are fully in pre-production with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game and they have their hands full. Like, at this point, I don't know if they're in a position to go back and update that game Friday the 13th. It's a really small dev team and the key people from those developers are working on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. There is no question to me that Sean S. Cunningham is aware of Jason Voorhees' hype in Dead by Daylight. In fact, I think it's highly likely that Sean S. Cunningham and Matthew Cote have talked.
How closely would you say that your company monitors the situation? Because I'm assuming that you've said before that Jason always has a place.
Well,
so how
enough,
important is this?
I was just reading about that myself. I was reading that article. It's very interesting. Yeah, of course, like you said, we've said in the past, and anybody who's got two brain cells to rub together knows that, you know, Jason would make a very fine addition to any museum of horror, such as we are trying to build with Dead by Daylight. I think that there are a lot of people out there involved in this very, very complex issue. Obviously, some of the legal brambles have been cleared, but it's still a very complex issue.
Hopefully those two parties can start to work together with one another and stop suing each other and move on so they can both make money.
Maybe one of them actually plays Dead by Daylight and can't wait to get on the phone with me. So, just a matter of trying to find
one
my
can only
phone
hope.
number.
That interview comes from the King's channel. I'm going to link his YouTube down below. Think about it. Matthew Cote knows that Sean S. Cunningham licensed Jason Voorhees into that Friday the 13th game, which was released about a year after Dead by Daylight. So when he's talking about getting on the phone with someone, he's definitely looking at Sean S. Cunningham because he was the current license holder at the time. Behavior is a multi-million-dollar company, and I have no doubt that all parties involved with the Jason Voorhees IP want to get this license out. Because they're sitting on so much money. Right now, they're probably negotiating the fine line between what Victor Miller's going to get from this. And from a previous video, we actually know that Victor Miller's not allowed to talk about this publicly. Like, Victor Miller's attorney's probably like, don't say anything, we can get you more money out of this agreement. And that's why it's taking so long. I think it will for sure come back, Cunningham said. But I can't tell you it will come back this year or next. Will Jason come back in theaters? Right now, it's a 50-50. So actually, after reading this quote again that Cunningham said about the Jason Voorhees IP, it's actually not clear if it's going to be this year or even next year at all. Like, I think I kind of misread this at first. If a deal isn't reached, Zerner offers one last resort. In 53 years, it will be public domain and then anyone can make the movie, he said with a laugh. 53 years, bro? I'm not even gonna be alive in 53 years. So theoretically, anyone could, you might say, take a stab at it. I don't know about that avenue, but I just wanted to post this information about this stuff that's been made public about the case. I've been following all the news and the dockets about this IP, and it's kind of crazy that this information's been made public today. Anyways, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want more news like this recommended to you by YouTube. Again, I'm also streaming on Twitch right now. That does it for this video. Goodbye.